So you have to be careful with all the panels going together, but being Tamiya, they will fit very well. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns Hobbies, and I'll be looking at the Tamiya kit here, the 24 scale of the Toyota Gazoo Racing TS050. Now this was a hybrid competition car that was entered in Le Mans in 2018 and came first and second. So that was the second time I think a Japanese manufacturer actually won Le Mans, first time being the Mazda. Okay, let's have a look inside this very interesting looking endurance car. Let's just fold that there. All right, first thing that's quite noticeable, we've got some bodywork. Okay, so with Tamiya, always very clean. You've got very clean panel lines. Panel lines are generally quite wide with Tamiya. That helps with doing panel lining at a later stage. Also, they've got very sharp edges, meaning that the fit on these particular models is very, very good. And this is really important with these particular cars because there's multiple panels that come off. Even so, the fit is good. I always recommend that without following the instructions step by step, to cut off some of the major components, actually dry assemble it just to make sure it fits perfectly. Sometimes you need to sand a little bit here and there just to get the fit to be outstanding. Okay, so there you've got your front end and then you've got your rear engine cover. Okay, so in this packet here we've got the tyres. So you can see they're really fat, very low profile rubber tyres, slicks. So they've got the mold line down the centre. Easiest thing to do is you just give that a light sand it all the way around, and it gives it a much more natural appearance rather than this shiny black. Look like they're actually being used. On this side here you might just see a little small packet of some poly caps, and they're used inside the discs so that when you put the wheels on, the wheels will actually rotate. Okay, so the tyres. Okay, over here we've got this really nice chrome part. That's a section of the roof panel. And then under here, maybe you see it better there. These are all the clear parts here. So you've got your side windows, you got your front cockpit windscreen. Actually, these are the headlight covers. These are the side window glasses. And then you've got some lenses here for the headlights and also for the tail lights. Okay. All right, over here we've got a major section. So these are the halves for the monocoque of the chassis. So when you look at it, it's actually like this section here. You've got the cockpit just in here for the driver, and then you've got the engine, which will be sitting at the back. You've got various parts here. These are the side panels for the aerodynamics of the bodywork, and then you've got some the central vertical wing. There's parts here that surround the gearbox housing and the suspension arms. Also there's a front panel there, I think. Not too sure, we'll check that in the manual. So lots of little bits and pieces, and then there will be also these sort of deflectors, which are parts of the aerodynamics on the front end. Okay, then you've got this big bit of black parts here. You've got the wheels, really nice multi-spoke. You've got the hubs here as well, and the disc brake covers. You got the disc brakes. You got the bucket seat for the driver. Interior detail here with some control panels. You got the gearbox housing. So this is very much a similar construction to an F1 car. You got your gearbox sits at the back. You got very large suspension arms here as well. So that's a rear section. Actually, this will be the front section. This is probably the rear section. And then you got windshield wipers, aerodynamic arms, and a steering rod. And there'll be drive shafts in here as well somewhere. And then this is a part of the cockpit as well, where it closes down on top of the driver. And you got some of the steering hubs there as well. Okay, and then that's all finished off with this final sheet here. So you've got this big under tray. So this is the ground effects. So you see this is the central piece here for the center of the chassis, and then as the air travels underneath, it goes through the tunnel over here. You got front deflectors, you got the rear wing, and there's actually most of this is internal chassis chassis bodywork, I would call it. So carbon fiber components of the monocoque. And then some of these under tray parts, which will be also carbon. Okay, so from there, we've got quite a lot of decals. So you've got the bigger decal sheet here, then there's a smaller one which is just inside here. It's the other way around for protection, so we can't really see what it is. Then over here, we have some mask. So mask for the windscreen and then also for body panels, which is very handy. And then you've got some decals here for the wheels, and then you've got the metal reflector type, which is for the rear vision mirrors, then probably also for headlights. All right, so from there we've got the manual. So Tamiya manuals are the best manuals you'll find anywhere. So they always have the same sort of layout. You've got the paint listings here, all in Tamiya color codes and descriptions. Recommended tools across the bottom there. And then we'll start getting into hints on how to paint and also how to do the masking. So initially you've got your choices of the two different cars, and they've got slight differences being the numbers and then also the color of the mirrors. Okay, so here we start building the halves of the monocoque for the cockpit. You've got the glass going in the sides, and then also you can notice here the different colors that these parts need to be painted. So you do your left and then the right. Okay, so you've got those two halves of the monocoque coming together with this device here which holds the driver in place. There's a rear bulkhead for the driver's compartment. Over here's a rear end with the rear arms, so it's covering up the engine. You're doing some of the pedals inside of the cockpit. They're getting mounted inside on the lower floor. And that's going in. And then here's the internal instrument panel, the big steering wheel, which these days has most of the control panels on it. That's all being fit inside. You've got the seat going in, so it's going through the base. You've got this the main control panel with the monocoque section sliding inside. Suspension arms going onto the front end. A little bit of bodywork here. These are intakes. So push rods to the suspension arms for the shocks. You've got the hubs going on there, so steering hubs. Some covers, and then windscreen glass going in. You've got the suspension arm surrounds, and then you've got the roof going on, so that was a chrome part. Here you've got the wheel hubs going in over the steering hubs. Gearbox going together for the rear end. Arms going on the gearbox, and here again, push rods to the shocks. Drive shafts. And a little bit of bodywork there. Not too sure what that is. It could be a rear light. Or could even be a cooler for the gearbox. Okay, so here we've got the rear end with the hubs going on. Got some carbon fiber decal there. You've got the covers with the refueling port here. Now the under tray with all the various components. Aerodynamic aids there. You've got the extra wings going on. So that was the rear end where you had the ground effects, and then this is the intakes, probably towards the disc brakes. There's the inside of the tub. And then you've got the rear end. So this is the upper side of the rear under tray. You got the main monocoque here with the gearbox fitting onto the under tray. But then you start getting all the final body panels going on. So these are all the side body panels. The rear panel with the exhaust going through the top. And that's the underside there with the exhaust extensions. Over here you've got the vertical wing, and then that's fit on top of the rear of the chassis. The wing plates going on with carbon fiber decal. Final masking of the front end, the bonnet section. You got your lights in here. So here's where your headlights, indicators going in. Once they're all in, you've got the deflectors and then the headlight covers. And then the front end is finished up with the front apron that goes underneath the bonnet. And then that's fit on. You've got the air scoop. And then finally the wheels, the tyres, and the decals for the tyres, the Michelins. Wheels are pressed onto the poly caps. And then you've got the mirrors. So the mirrors are painted differently for the different drivers. And then you've got the, I guess this is the communication system where you've got all the aerials that pops in. You've got all the finer sensors going on. And that's it. And that completes it. So that's quite an involved build. I mean, these are like the old Tamiya F1 builds. So you have to be careful with all the panels going together. But being Tamiya, they will fit very well. Just need to take a little care, just make sure they fit absolutely perfectly. So let's see, we've got some more, another thing here, which is just some background information about the actual car. And then this is the layout for all the decals. Okay, so that's the Tamiya kit, 24 scale of the Toyota Gazoo Racing TS050 Hybrid racing car that won Le Mans in 2018, came first and second.